Have you ever experienced a time that you have just been done with the conversation?
No.
Same conversation over and over and over, and you're tapped out. Or have you ever been the person who's needing to have the conversation over and over again, and then your spouse taps out, and now you feel lonely?
Oh, yeah. They're like done with the conversation.
Yeah, we have. We've been both, all within the last 3 weeks with each other. So today we want to talk about that type of loneliness in relationships.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Welcome to I Get It, a podcast for the modern woman who doesn't want to live mediocre. We're balancing babies on our hips, typing out that important email, and flipping pancakes at the same time. Not to mention, keeping things steamy with our husbands right before we put our face mask on for the night. It's not easy, and you are not alone. I'm your host, Tara Wages, and I get it. Welcome to I Get It. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am your host, Tara Wages, and this fine specimen of a human being wearing this shirt, I love this shirt.
I got a new hat too.
My man, Wes Wages.
This is a cool goodie vault. It's in Huntsville, pre-owned luxury goods.
Yep. Not
Cool
sponsored,
hat.
but we like the owner. And we want to talk today because we have been dealing really since quarantine started with like an imbalance of the scales. One of us feels very passionately about a specific topic and the other person doesn't, or they have a need and the other person isn't up to date or as in tune. And so we're kind of like in the season of flip-flopping. And so I thought we would go over what those things are. Maybe some of them are things you are also dealing with, and then how we are handling it and coping. Because some of them have been fine and others we've like crashed.
Yes.
And so really, I was thinking earlier, it kind of started with quarantine, and I think for our relationship, and many probably dealt with this, one of us tended to be the more afraid. One of us was the researcher and cared more. And this is the statistics every single day. We got to have the face masks. We got to do all of the things. And the other one was like, oh, we're all going to get it at some point anyway. It's not that big of a deal.
Which one was which?
I was the worrier for sure. And
Just naturally.
And I feel like that has been a common thing that probably created some stress, some arguments, because there have been times in our relationship that I've told Wes, if you would just worry at a level of 20%, I wouldn't have to worry at 120%. And so that has definitely caused some like friction at times. So then we moved out of the stage of that type of friction and quarantine into Wes deciding now is the time to buy an RV. He's wanted to do it for probably way before we were even married. And
it was actually Road Rules. Did you ever watch Road Rules?
I did watch Road Rules.
Oh, dude, I remember. I don't know if it was Winnebago or not, but they, had that Class C with a bunk on top, and they had 6 people in there.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine how cramped it was, but
that was your dream.
That was it. Like,
Yeah.
I remember watching that in high school.
Well, and so coming out of quarantine, now is the time. We don't know if our kids are going back to school in the fall. There's just so much we can't take flights. Adventure is important to us, and so he decides today is the day. And if he had decided today was the day, on the day that he decided, that would have been fine. But we then spent a 6-week process of what kind of RV are we supposed to get? Should we get a truck and trailer combo? Should we get a Class C? Should we get a whatever? And
Class A, Class B, Class B plus, Class C.
it has been the conversation that never ended. Every hour of the day, we were either talking about it, we were on RVtrader.com looking at options, we were going and looking at trucks, going and looking at RVs. I mean, just everything. It consumed our entire life, where I reached the point where I was like, I don't care. I don't even want it anymore. If you don't buy it, I'm going to tell you no. Like, I'm over this conversation.
What's the word for that?
We were in decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, we had pros and cons lists, the whole 9 yards. And
considering you're the one that always, checks, you go to the checkout cart, you just never hit buy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was both of us did not.
Yes. But I was done. I was tapped out. Then 3 weeks ago, we all as a nation experienced and watched the death of George Floyd, and the conversation in our home completely switched to where now I am the one who has a lot of passion, a lot to say. I'm working through learning and unlearning and just everything going on and being consumed with every article and protest, to where as invested as Wes is and as much work as he has done in the learning and unlearning of racism within himself, he reached a point where I could tell he was hiding in the bathroom from me because I was talking with a coworker at this point about it. Thank you so much, Lee Taylor, for walking me through life. And I could tell Wes was like, he was done. He was tired of hearing about it.
Well, especially afternoons. That was definitely an afternoon. I
You'd
can
already
only
heard
talk
about it all
one
day.
thing,
Yeah.
so long. It was just a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
It was a very important conversation, but
For sure.
we didn't talk about anything else there for a while.
Yeah, I'm not throwing you under the bus at all. I'm just saying, like, that as we go through different phases of marriage and different things, the scales tend to switch at times. And I actually feel like most of our relationship, we're pretty even balanced. We talk about what our goals are, what our kids are doing, what school is going on. But for some reason, during this season, everything has just felt very enhanced. Everything is just so much bigger, to where it has provoked one of us to really care about a thing, an issue, worried about spending money on a purchase that we were already planning to make.
If we could coin a term right now for this, I think it would be conversation alignment.
Whoa.
For real.
So we were disaligned.
We were disaligned, which,
Okay.
I mean, in a marriage or any relationship, it's like, can you carry on a conversation? But like at some point, one person is obviously more passionate than another about something. And as a spouse, I just think that, like, once you've heard it so much, you just obviously you're off alignment, and you're just like, okay,
we're done.
Go down your track, but
Yeah.
I just can't do that every day.
And I'm going to hide in the bathroom until you're off of whatever track you're on right now. And we've talked to other couples that have experienced this and similar to this with different things going on. And we realize that these moments and situations can actually at times cause friction, to where it's more than just being annoyed, but now suddenly we're not connecting on other things, or
we're derailed.
We're no longer aligned, as you said. What would it be?
It was conversation alignment, but maybe we should change that to like something to do with a train track.
Okay. Anyways, we were not connecting on any other point other than these specific topics. And through that friction, it creates loneliness ultimately. And we reached where, when everything was going on with George Floyd, I just told Wes that I felt extremely lonely. I didn't have anyone. Also, because of coronavirus, I wasn't going to the office very much to talk to other people. I didn't have that person that I could talk with all the time about it other than Wes. And when I could tell he was done, I just felt alone in my thoughts. And then for you, we reached the point with the RVs where I was like, this is your thing now. I no longer want to be a part of it. It's yours. Take it and go. And so it can create loneliness. And even like right now, today, in this moment, Wes is feeling loneliness. Do you want to say?
Yeah, so I had a coronavirus test today.
Yep.
So we'll find out in 3 to 5 days. So, I think it's a weird spot to be in. I have 2 of the symptoms, and I don't know, you feel guilt, because what if I exposed anybody else? Well, I mean, I don't know if I have it or not, right?
But yeah, let me first say that the 2 symptoms that he has are symptoms that he has all the time.
True.
They're very common.
Yeah.
But in this season, like I said, everything is enhanced. You just have to be extra careful.
Yeah. If we have jobs, then I just need to be safe.
Yeah.
And do that. So just want to be safe with that and wait till the results. But in this, I feel guilt, feel shame, feel loneliness. There's a lot of kind of this middle road here.
Right. And through that, like, that's been our conversation today.
Yeah.
There's this like weight here of you not feeling like yourself, and you feeling lonely and disconnected.
But I feel like myself, just so you know. I don't feel
no,
disillusioned or anything,
yeah.
because that's one of the symptoms. So.
Oh, really?
It is.
Yeah, you feel fine.
Oh, yeah, I feel great.
But you don't feel like yourself in the fact you're just like, ugh, there's a weight on me.
Yeah.
And that's so far from your personality to be weighted down with anxiety.
It's strictly emotional.
Yes. That it is very easily for us to get disaligned.
Yeah.
Because we've had this conversation now multiple times today where it's like, no, dude, it's okay. This is not your fault. You know, you've done good. We haven't been around people over the last 48 hours. And
it's really, I mean, it's an invisible thing. It's like,
yeah. And so
it's hard not to blame like yourself. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
we know that other couples are experiencing this. We know.
Well, they have to be, according to the Alabama Public Health Department.
That's true.
So nobody wants to talk about it, though.
We know that one of you either is passionate about something the other one's not, or one of you is experiencing something that the other one is not. And through that, there are all these emotions that go in with it. So we wanted to talk about what we do in our home to help create either that balance or the support to where the other person feels heard and seen, and we're a unit together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're on the same track.
So the first thing
I'm going with that,
that I thought about in doing this is finding a friend to talk to that aligns with whatever it is you're experiencing, you know. And for Wes, he reached a point where he had 2 guys that he could start talking to about the RV situation.
Yeah.
And thank the Lord for Nick and Luke because the amount he talked to me about it, if we had not had those 2 men, I would be done. I would be staying somewhere else at this point. And so finding that friend, and for myself, finally this week I had a friend come over to talk with me through things, and had a good phone call with a good friend, and was able to just hash out what's going on in my brain while giving Wes a much needed break. So finding a friend that aligns with what it is you are passionate about or wanting or experiencing, that you can connect with other than your spouse.
Yeah, without taking that joy away, right? Without taking that, just for RVs or something, I want to talk about details. I'm trying to make sure everything's in place. And while you may be done with that, these guys could literally talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yes.
it's not a burden for them.
Right. Yeah.
Because more than likely in their marriage, the same thing's happening.
Exactly.
And they're looking for me
Yes.
to talk about RVs with.
Yes. Yes.
Because they don't want to talk about cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I'm sure their wives want to talk about cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Not eating cheeseburgers.
There you go. But yeah, finding that person that you connect with in that way. And those people can be different for different topics in your life. You know, if Wes was going to talk about marriage with somebody, he would go to his friend Lee, you know, our friend Lee. If he's talking about RVs, he'd go to Luke. No offense, Luke, we think your marriage is great. But, you know, but we have different people that pertain to different areas of interest for us. And then secondly, having that space to listen and giving that person that safe space where they can just kind of do a brain dump. And maybe it's designating time for those brain dumps. Not necessarily right before bed or right when someone gets home from work, but saying maybe the hour before you start your nighttime routine, you know, because I know you have kids. You can't just like, let's do this at 5:00 at night during dinner and everything. But maybe right when the kids go down, say, let's set an alarm. Let's talk for 30 minutes about this specific issue. Tell me all of your thoughts, everything you've bottled up all day, and let me just listen and actually truly listen and validate. And we have learned through Dr. Glenn Hill, who is a relationship coach, talking about the power of validating and giving an audible validation to somebody. So when we are talking to each other, we are not doing it right now, so you're not having to listen to us constantly. But Wes is nodding his head as I'm talking, if you're not watching on YouTube. But instead, if we were doing this in real life, what would you be doing? Or like just talking. Like
I usually say, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I see that.
Yep.
That makes sense. And so letting the other person say everything and you nodding along, saying, yes, I see that. So the other person knows you're actually taking what they're saying. And having that time set, so you know the conversation isn't going to last forever. You can then move on to whatever you want to talk about, or the office, or whatever it is that you do before bed. And
And that should go not only just in marriage, but also conversations with anyone. You know what I mean? Just, showing the other person that you're listening.
Yeah.
It's just simple verbal, communication, nonverbal communication.
Yeah, both verbal and nonverbal at times. Then on the flip side of that is if you don't have that time set up, give each other breaks. And that is what we were both needing. I was needing a break from talking about RVs. Wes was needing a break from talking about the heaviness of what's going on in the world today. And that's okay. That doesn't make him a bad person because he didn't need to talk about these issues in this moment, but giving us space just to let our brains rest and relax and have moments of connection on other things is okay. And I think if you need to ask for that break, it's okay. So if you're the person who's doing all the talking and the other person says, I need a break, no, it's not because they don't love you. No, it's not because they don't want to support you in this way. It's just because in this moment, they have other things on their brain that they need to let breathe. And they'll be able to come back and finish this conversation with you at a designated time once their brain breathes.
Yeah.
So asking for the break, giving the break, and it not being a place of defensiveness, which can be difficult, but just knowing it's not about you. They don't need a break from you. They just need to breathe. Yeah,
and in that moment, you're going to feel loneliness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When somebody says, hey, that thing we've been talking about for 2 weeks, I'm done.
You don't say I'm done. You say, hey, I would love to talk about this. Can we do it tonight at 7:30? Can we do it when the kids go down and set that timer, those boundaries with each other so you have the space. She knows she's going to be heard or he's going to be heard. And you can have that time to cope and breathe through other things. So,
for you, I know we wouldn't remember to do that possibly, but for me, I would just be like, hey, Siri, set a timer for 8:30 to talk about RVs.
I wouldn't remember the RVs, but I would remember to talk about whatever I needed to talk about.
Timer for a specific time.
All right.
Awesome. And so then I would say, know that whatever it is that's happening in your home, it's just a season. This moment for Wes right now, as we are waiting and he's feeling the weight and the stress of not knowing if he's positive or negative, this is going to last 3 days, 3 to 5 days, and then we'll move on to whatever the next season is. With the RV, we have now purchased an RV. So now we've moved on to the next layer of owning an RV and the renovation and all of those things. So everything we are in is just a season.
2017 Winnebago Mini Winnie 31H Class C. Just let me know if you want to talk about it.
Please don't talk to me about it. Find Wes at Wes Wages on Instagram. He would love to talk to you about whatever he just said.
Yeah.
And know that whatever you're working through isn't going to last forever. And so it's just a season and you will get to flip-flop and it'll be about whatever your brain needs soon. We have a little human in the room. Yes, but just knowing that this is going to flip-flop soon. And you'll either be back to balanced or alignment, as you said. Or you may be experiencing something that then you need their support on.
Yeah.
So being there for each other in that way, treat each other the way you want to be treated. So if you want that support, it's important to give the support.
Yes.
And that brings to the very last thing to do, which is along the same lines of give each other that grace and know that the other person still wants to feel seen and feel loved and to not feel lonely, and to give each other the grace of either needing the break or the grace of there's a weight on them that they can't control. Wes does not get to choose that he feels loneliness right now. He does not get to choose that he feels guilt or fear right now. Feelings are not things that you choose. You do get to choose how you react to them and what you do with them. But when feelings hit you, they are there. And so giving him the grace today to support him and what he needs to work through those is what I can do as a spouse. And to give him his love language, which is physical touch, listen to him and support him. And knowing that this, again, is just a season. And then as far as the RV goes, or, whenever I was working through things that were really heavy, for then that person the listener, to also support in giving the love language. If it's a heavy issue, like he knew that my heart was just weighed down, for him to speak life into me and truth into me and support me in other ways really helps me to not feel alone.
Yeah.
And I think that is why it's important to know personalities. It's important to know love languages, because I know, so you're an Enneagram 7. If you haven't listened to our Enneagram podcast, go back and find it. It's fantastic. But Wes will do everything in his power to avoid pain. That is like his number one of the big personality traits of a 7 is pain avoidance. So if I know he is experiencing emotion and experiencing pain, whoa, like I've already said, the dude doesn't worry. I want him to worry more often. This is time for me as a wife to be clued into him and what he is needing in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, on the flip side, I am a 3. I have a strong 6. I'm an activist type person. And so for him to know that this is part of my personality, I can't help but be moved by what is happening in the world, then that allows him to give me the grace that I need, because I can't choose the way that my heart feels about people that are hurting.
Yeah.
And for him to know that about me, that's so important, because he is able to support me in a season as well.
Let you protest and I'll watch the kids.
No justice, no peace.
Just to say, the RV thing's not a season though.
Well, the season of having to talk about it.
Right.
Was
Are we in agreement on that?
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, and I guess so. Just with you saying that, one more thing that I will add. This also goes along with the fact that we have different passions, and that's a way that we could not be aligned at times. And the RV thing is definitely Wes's passion. It is not my passion. But again, it's a season, and at some point we'll all be able to fly again. And I know that he will take turns and flip with me and buy me tickets to go to New York, Paris, wherever I want to go, because I've supported him through his passion. And I know that he will do the same for me.
Yep.
So even with all those things, we are 2 different humans that are just trying to work together and live life together. And that's really what it boils down to. We are 2 separate people that have different personalities, different passions, different interests, just trying to figure this thing out. And we do that by listening, finding the friends that align with those passions that the other one doesn't experience, giving each other that break when needed, knowing that everything is just a season in those hard moments, and giving each other our love languages. So we see, even though I may not be on that team where you're at right now, I see you and I love you through it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what we have today. I hope that it was helpful. If this podcast has benefited you in any way, this episode or previous, it would mean the world to me if you would get on the Apple Podcasting app and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us so much. And I talk about love languages. I am words of affirmation. It goes a long way with me, and it just helps to get the podcast out in the world. You can also hit subscribe on YouTube. We're going to be creating a lot more fun content coming up soon. So hit that button if you want to stay tuned.
Yeah.
And I want to say a special thank you to Paige Alis, maybe. I'm a single 30-year-old, but love tuning in. I particularly thought the bit about personality quizzes was helpful for all sorts of relationships. Discussing the uncomfortable and vulnerable topics keeps me coming back for more. Great job. Yes, I'm passionate about the personality. It makes such a big difference in how we communicate. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Paige. And
I don't think you've ever pronounced the name on there right.
well, because it's all like aliases. I don't really know. And we are going to kind of give a little bit of space right now, because 3 to 5 days, this podcast will come out in a week. So we will know the results of Wes's test before the podcast is actually launched.
Yep.
So here is what's happened in the Wages household.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, we're going to reveal that later. So you have to listen to the next episode.
No, we'll reveal it right here.
Oh, gotcha. Right now. Okay.
So here's the grand reveal. Positive or negative?
No coronavirus. All good to go. And I'm editing in the RV. Yay! If you're going to talk about this, let me know.
Yes. So now I'm back on, and I have no idea. I feel like we're finding out if we're pregnant or something, because I don't know if that was a positive or negative test. I'm 90% sure that it's negative, but still, there's that fear for sure.
Yeah.
And this is so true right now. Life is a little crazy, and there are days that you feel a little crazy, especially when one of you is waiting to find out if you are now taking part in the pandemic in a new way and not just listening about it.
Yep.
You are not alone. I get it. Be happy and love each other. Peace.
Peace. Thanks, guys.